How do, everybody? So I'm gonna try and finally I figured out something to lock this down with. Of course, I think I only brought out most of the stuff I need instead of all of it. But anyway, what we're gonna do is these little eyelets. I'm gonna put one on each one of these 2x2s, and that way when this closes down, I'll have my little jitterbug doodah make some holes in there, slots rather, so that these are going to be sticking out past them. And then I got some little carabiner clips that will go through there. That way, with the carabiner on, this can't come out, because when it's up, oh my gosh, I got to get the paint off of this thing. It's stuck all over the place because I made it too tight of tolerances. Okay. So the idea here is that this will, as that comes down, it'll slip over the top of it. Hopefully it works. Okay. There we go. Okay, a little update. I found these chains. I mean, that's a sorry excuse for a chain, but anyway, they're from hanging a couple of 4-foot fluorescent lights, and I had a little bit left over, so I put another eyelet right there, ran one through the carabiner, and now you can't lose it, because trust me, that's going to fall into the grass at some point. Things are going to get sighting, and they would get lost otherwise. And then in here, we've got another eyelet. Okay, all scrubbed up. Not perfect, but heck of a lot cleaner than it was. We're going to let it sit for a bit because it got water in it. But anyway, that'll get hung up in here. And then we got one of these handy dandy little ceramic jobs. It's got a light on it that tells you it's working. But instead of emitting light, it just emits the heat. And then I put one of these little wire nuts right here so that we can keep the cable up in there. That way it just comes around here and stays right where the roof is going to come down. And then we'll run it into an extension cord or whatever, and the chicks, ducklings, whichever is in here, will be all happy. Okay, we've got this little plastic tote. I don't even know what brand it is. Sterilite from Walmart. It's like for putting shoes in or whatever. We're going to take this 1¼ hole saw and put a series of holes across here. So I'm going to mark at 2 inches. Just trying to make them look somewhat uniform. Oh, that helps if you're actually touching it though. Anyway, yeah, that's good grief. Measure with a micrometer, mark it with a crayon, cut it with a chainsaw. It'll work out perfect. Anyway, we are going to have 6 ducklings. I could probably just put 4 across the front and call it totally fine. The idea is we're going to put water in this, have the lid on it, and with the holes in it small enough that the ducks can get their heads in, because ducks have to, when they eat, they have to absolutely submerge their beak a little bit, and then they look up and rinse it down their throat, and it clears their nostrils and stuff. But you don't want them getting in there, because while they're still ducklings and before, you know, as adolescents or whatever, they don't produce the amount of oil they need to keep dry, and once they get wet, they can get cold, and that's bad. So I'm gonna put 4 across here. They're not probably all gonna be trying to take a drink at the exact same time. We're only gonna start out with 6 till we kind of learn a little bit more. So this is basically 12 inches. So if we put them, let's see, if we put them every 3 inches, that should give me 4. So that'd be 1, 2, no, I'm measuring it wrong. Let's go every 2 inches. That'd be 2, there's 2, 3, 4. Now that gives us 5. That would be kind of close together, but I think it'll work. My math skills are failing me right now. When I did 3, that was 1, 2, and then 3. So if we go every 2.5 inches, maybe. There's 2.5. That'd be 5. Another 2.5, and 5 right there. That'll work. That gives us 4. It's not perfectly symmetrical, but like I've been saying all this time, I don't think the ducks are going to care. So anyway, I apologize if the wind is taking this out. I'll have to do a voiceover later. That lid's not helping me. Good grief, it's windy. Make sure we get all the little plastic bits off of there. We don't want the ducklings eating that. I'll have to get a little razor blade or something to scrape it. But anyway, that's the idea. Now that I got my permanent marker that's on greasy plastic. Oh yeah. Anyway, we'll scrub this whole thing down before we put the ducklings in there. That way they're not drinking anything funky. But now they can get their heads in there without them getting in there, and we can fill it up to roughly 1.5 inches worth of water. And with the lid on it, they can't get in. And I mean, ducks, I don't know if they would really drown, but they would get cold. Not in the heat we're having right now, but it's a preventative thing. So anyway, there you go. Okay, hopefully you can hear me, but I'm gonna try an old trick. You put soap on surfaces and it's supposed to make it really slippery. We'll see. I've never really tried it on much, but you saw earlier the trouble I was having. Now how to get over there. Anyway, I don't know if I'm just grating soap on wood or... Anyway, this is underneath, so the ducks aren't going to ever get to it. Let's see if I can... Ugh, everything's glued. Oh boy. Okay, we'll run it down this edge too. Trying to hold my phone with one hand and do this with the other. And again, I apologize if you can't hear me. It's super windy today. Okay. We'll see if this works any easier. Wow, that actually made quite a bit of difference. We're gonna have to set this up on something, even just like a couple little pavers or something like that, because as you can see, I'm kind of struggling. Everything's hitting the grass and all that. So we'll just set it up on like a little 2-inch paver or something like that. Anyway, yeah. Now we just need to get it plugged in. We'll put some wood chips in there and run the light for a little bit, well, the not light, and see what temperature it gets it up to.